Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 37. Yes, I know what one this one is. Of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. We're going to pick two random SoulsBorne bosses, and then each one will knit a quilt, and whoever knits the best quilt will be the winner. It's as easy as it gets right there. I keep finding easier and easier ways to determine winners in these contests, and I think that's the best way to go about it. So that's what it's all about. That's what we're all about here at SoulsBorne Battle to the Death, is finding the easiest way to do things. All right. Coming down the aisle is the first competitor, and it is the Four Kings from the original Dark Souls. Ooh. The Four Kings. I mean, they're a bit of a gimmick boss, but they're definitely tough, and people still talk about them. So, I think they're certainly a worthy addition to have here. Obviously, whoever their opponent is, it's going to depend, however the fight is going to be. I mean, it's really true of any fight. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here, but, a boss like the Four Kings, it's kind of a gimmick type thing. You never know how good it's going to be until you know who the opponent is. So, as opposed to someone like Slave Knight Gale, it's a pretty straightforward fight, and he's aggressive and all that stuff. But, like I said, the people still talk about the Four Kings, and yeah, that's very interesting, especially the fact that it's in the abyss, and it's dark, and I don't know, people remember them, and I certainly remember them. It was a tough fight. Tough fight. And interesting lore as well. Interesting lore on the Four Kings. Alright, so, well, I guess we have four competitors in one corner. That's hardly fair. Alright, we're going to take this wheel for another spin. We are going to take this wheel for another spin. We're going to see who's going to face the Four Kings in this quilt knitting contest. Wow, it's going to take four kings to knit a quilt. I guess they can't all do things by themselves. All right, we have the Four Kings in one corner, and in the other corner we have the Capra Demon from the same game. The original Dark Souls. Alright, I think we can kind of sort of determine a winner pretty easily in this one, but we are contractually obligated to provide bios. That is what I have signed on for. So, let us take a look at the Four Kings. The Four Kings were once such great leaders of men that Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, recognized them by giving them pieces of his Great Lord Soul, which apparently Gwyn just hands out like candy. He also allowed them to build their new civilization of New Londo near Anor Londo, which is the city of the gods. The Four Kings were so good at what they did that when the first flame began to fade and the undead curse began to take over, that they still continued to function New Londo as an undead city. Like, they just adapted to the change and just continued to function it as is. So, I guess that shows the great leadership potential that they possess, or something. When Gwyn sacrificed himself to link the first flame, Primordial Serpent Koth was looking for a human strong enough to become a Dark Lord and usher in the Age of Dark. He managed to seduce the Four Kings into following his ideals. He taught the Four Kings the art of life drain so that they could preserve their humanity even while undead. And it didn't stop at the Four Kings. The Four Kings army followed them and came over to the dark side as well. The Knights of New Londo become the Dark Wraiths, which are giant pain in the asses in the Dark Souls universe, and that is saying something. The Four Kings were eventually able to open an abyss in their city, which almost kind of makes it sound like they were opening a Walmart in their city. Their bodies became mutilated by the Dark Soul, and the Dark Race armor transformed as well. They began to use the red eye orbs provided by Koth to seek humanity and plunge further into the powers of dark. This transformation, the Four Kings, the Dark Race, the whole army behind them, was seen as an unparalleled threat to the gods in Anor Londo. And Artorias, one of the four Knights of Gwyn, was sent to challenge them. He was given a silver pendant to deflect the darkness of the abyss, but it did not prove to be sufficient to cross the abyss, so he had to forge a covenant with the beast of the abyss, which gave him a ring so that he could cross the abyss. Did you get all that? This also cursed his greatsword. Artorias became known as the Abyss Walker, and he hunted down the Dark Race, but he was not able to kill the Four Kings. After Artorias failed, the decision was made to flood New Londo, and therefore basically drown the threat of the army, the Dark Race, the Four Kings, and the Abyss all in one go. To accomplish this task, sorcerers were called, and they did this without even evacuating the country's citizens. Seems like a dick move, but it kind of sounds like the entire country was part of the army anyways, so I'm not even sure. The victims of this flooding were thus cursed, which doesn't seem to be very fair, and they became ghosts roaming the ruins of their country, basically annihilating anyone that came close. And anyone that plays the game will remember that happening. And basically everything remains this way until you come along, and yeah, basically I guess in your own way set things right, but in probably their way just, ruin everything. Just annihilate everything and kill everybody, and that's basically what you do in Dark Souls, so it's just the way it is. When the Witch of Izalith used her Lord Soul to create a power on par with the First Flame, the result was a bed of chaos, and the Capra demons that spawned from that. Did you get all that? Great, I didn't either, and I'm the one that just said it. Do you remember when you were a kid and your parents told you that if you didn't understand something, just ask? Yeah, well, Miyazaki's secretary told me that if I called again, I'd get a restraining order, so thanks for that, Mom and Dad. The witch had managed to succeed in what she wanted to do, but the result had drawn the ire of Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, and the Silver Knights, and a war waged between them and the demons that she had created. During this war, one of the Capra demons escaped from Lost Izalith with 2 cast iron demon great machetes and managed to reach the lower section of the Undead Burg and take control of 2 attack dogs, just because. And that is the Capra demon that you fight in the original Dark Souls. In the meantime, he apparently realized that, hey, I ain't shit as far as Dark Souls bosses go, so I'm going to take shelter in this tiny-ass room with these 2 attack dogs with me, so I can maybe have the advantage against some of these guys, because otherwise I'm going to get my ass kicked. And I'm saying that on behalf of anybody who's ever played this game and had trouble with this boss, which is a lot of people, myself included, because, yeah, I think everyone needs a little bit of closure on this one, and I am here to help you provide that. Because this boss is a fucking bitch, and yeah, well, I'll cover it in the fucking outro. I don't think there's a whole lot to debate here. I think this one's pretty cut and dry. I think the Four Kings pretty much breathe in and out, and the Capra demon is toast. What I was going to say about the Capra demon earlier is that the only reason this boss is difficult is because it takes the fight takes place in this tiny ass room, and the 2 attack dogs are there, and that's basically it. As a Dark Souls boss, the Capra demon is definitely on the lower tier, maybe a rung above Pinwheel. And yes, Capra Demon, I mean that as an insult. But yeah, the biggest reason is it's difficult to get around this boss. And then the dogs can circle around you at any time. And it's a pain in the ass. There's a set of stairs at the end, which can make the fight a little bit easier if you can get up there. And, yeah, oh, God. I think we've all spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to figure out how to beat this boss that really isn't that hard. But, you know, the environment and the two dogs just make this fight way harder than it has to be. And it's really pretty ridiculous. So yeah, it's just... this fight is pretty much no contest. The Four Kings will walk away with this one with very little effort. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the Capra Demon is a joke boss, pretty much on par with Pinwheel and the Four Monkeys. The folding screen monkeys, that's what I was trying to say, from Sekiro. So yeah, but that is just my opinion. Feel free to leave yours in the comments. And I don't expect to see too many other different opinions on this one. Leave a like, subscribe, notifications, and all that junk. RobertBlanchardBooks.com if you're interested in the Roar of a Dragon series. If you'd like to hear more about them, the Rise of Dragons podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. My Linktree, my Instagram, my Twitter are all Bobby's World 2110. The Sekiro No Healing Gourd run is still ongoing. We're still fighting our way through Fountainhead Palace. Part 2 of that just went up on Monday. There's been a lot of laughs and head-shaking moments along the way. It's been a treacherous ride through Fountainhead Palace. And of course you can come back here next week, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another edition of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. So until next week, be well, stay safe. I appreciate everyone's love and support. It means a great deal to me. There's been a lot going on. I keep saying that. I say that all the time. I say it on the podcast. I say it everywhere. It's just because there has been a lot, and but we're getting through it. I think we're coming through on the other side, and I think I know that everything's going to be all right. Everything always is. We just push through and come out on the other side, and then we move on from there. So, and I encourage anyone else struggling to do the same. Just hang in there, and everything will be all right. If you're strong, you'll get through it. So, if you are struggling out there, I send my love out to you. And yeah, just stay strong. It'll be alright. Until next time, be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World. And you're all just living in it. Stay out, stay alive, y'all. Bye! What's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out the video today, but I got a question for you. Did you know I wrote a book? Did you know I wrote 3 books? Did you know that they're all part of the same series? The Roar of a Dragon, The Treachery of a Weasel, and The Cry of a Raven. ReadersFavorite.com says that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. Now, I personally think that's crazy, but it's not for me to judge. It's for you to judge. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com and you can check out the books right now. But wait, that's not all. All 3 books got 5-star reviews in ReadersFavorite.com. These books won the Silver Medal in the Literary Titan Awards. The Cry of a Raven won Silver at the Global eBook Awards. So what are you waiting for? Read about Aiden's dream to become a Knight of Delmar. Read about his death and resurrection. Oops, I gave that away, didn't I? And read about his journey back home from 3,000 years in the future to stop the evil that started in Delmar. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And then, if you're interested, you can buy the books there as well. And if you've already read the books or you just want to hear more about them, you can check out the Rise of Dragons podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And in every episode, I cover a character from the book, an event from the book, my journey into writing, and everything in between. Ripley, what do you got to say about all this?
Give me a treat or I will end you.
You know she's telling you to check out the books. Go to RobertBlanchardBooks.com to check out the books or listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast if you want to hear about them. That's all I got to say, and thank you for watching this video.